Hey YouTube, it's been a while. I think the last one of these I made was... Actually, I don't know. I think the last video I made was the beginning of September. It's probably been even longer since I've done one of these vlogs, so who knows. It is November now, so it's been a few months at least, probably more than that. And as California, we are babies with the cold. It's probably like 68 here. I'm here in my turtleneck sweater because, again, we are fucking wusses when it comes to the cold. This is like winter, not even sweater, but coat weather if we have to go outside or anything. So, yeah, the rest of the country and probably the world at large is busy laughing their asses off at us, but we're over here like, it's cold out, because we shiver like chihuahuas at like the tiniest breeze, because that's California for you. Around this time last year, my best friend came out from St. Louis, and she was like laughing her ass off when we went to the city on like her last day out here. And saw like how many people had like the puffy winter coats on, and it's like 60 something out. She's like, oh my god, dude, like back home, this is like tank tops and t-shirts and shorts weather. We would be thrilled to have this back east. And I was like, good god, what kind of weather do you have back there this time of year? She's like, snow. And I was like, yeah. That's a foreign substance to Californians. It does not snow here. So there's that. Also, the quality on this is different than the last, I don't know how many videos, because I am not using my iPod as it's over here, because I don't see much point in wasting like the bandwidth and everything to do an HD video when it's just me babbling for God knows how long about nothing. I've already been going on for 2 minutes and I have covered nothing of substance. God only knows how long this thing will be. And I can tell you going into it, it'll still be nothing of substance even by the end of it. I don't even know why you guys like watching these, but apparently you do, so I keep making them. But yeah, I am on my new computer, so I'm using the built-in webcam on here. My last one, I thought my intention was going to be, the whole point of getting that laptop that I did was one with a built-in webcam, but little problem with that one. It was like the absolute cheapest one I could afford with a webcam built into it. Now it's pretty much standard that if you get a computer, it's going to have a webcam. You'd be hard-pressed to find one without one now. But little problem it had was it didn't have enough juice to really power the webcam. So, I mean, it would film, it would take pictures, but if you played back that film, it would like get weird hiccups in the sound and freeze up and shit at weird spots, because you could even hear it in like the hard drive or something in the machine where you would run it and it'd be like cruising along and then cruising along. Not like the click of death hard drive noise, which it later developed, and I mean it still runs, just not very well, but no, just really different sound, like it was having the hardest time even trying to run in the first place. So that's why I was never able to do my blogs on that, and was trying to struggle just aiming a camera God only knows where without being able to see where it was shooting or if I was even in the frame or not. So yeah, this should probably make it easier, at least if nothing else, for me to be able to do these again without it being a huge ordeal. Ooh, Foreman is nothing of any sort of... Yeah, I told you, nothing of substance here. But, yeah, the new laptop's awesome, and it's purple and pretty, and it's not even, like, that badass of a computer in and of itself. There's much better ones out there, but it started out base price, like, 400 something, with, like, no add-ons, and I souped it up as far as I possibly could to, like, 700 bucks, and for me, that's a lot of money being unemployed, but yeah, I did it anyway because priorities, and there's that. I love it, aside from the fact it has Windows 8. I'm not a fan of Windows 8. It just annoys the crap out of me. I've hacked the shit out of this machine to make it work like Windows 7 as closely as possible, but yeah. Ignore me, I'm putting on chapstick. But, yeah, other than that, this machine's pretty damn decent. Okay. But, yeah, I like it, so if nothing else, should hopefully make it easier for me to make these with some sort of regularity, because I have no problem making them on my iPod, but the problem with that is that being in HD, it takes literally hours for them to upload. And we have good connection speed here. The files are just that massive when it's like a 45-minute video in HD. I mean, I'm sure you guys know from having to load them and shit. So imagine having to upload that in the first place. It's an even longer time. I'd like plug it in, let it go overnight. Maybe by morning, if I'm lucky, it'll be done. Sometimes it'd still be going in the morning, so yeah, it kind of reminds me of the old dial-up days of, like, for one song, like, setting it to download, like, when I'd go to bed, and, like, by the time I'd get up, it'd be, like, maybe, if I'm lucky, almost done. So, yeah, I'm like, dude, this is not even cool, because we have a good connection. I don't know why the fuck it just takes that long in HD, other than the file sizes are massive. Like, some of these have been, like, 3 or 4 gigabytes inside, so that'd be why. I guess I do know why. It's not even I don't know why it takes so long, so there's that. But the other reason why I seemingly fell off the face of YouTube has nothing to do with how hard or easy it is to film anything on here, but because of everything that's been going on since shortly after the last video I made. In September, about mid-September, my grandma died, which we all kind of saw it coming. She had congestive heart failure, and she'd been bedridden and wheelchair-ridden for a few years leading up to it, but I saw her about a week before she died, and I pretty much knew that day that that was the last time I was ever going to get to see her. It was one of those things where you just instinctively know. And I mean, the way she, like, clung to me, I mean, I hated saying it even that night. I think I was telling people I think that she's gonna die soon, which is a really horrible thing to have to say, but, I mean, when I get a gut instinct feeling on anything, 9 times out of 10, I'm right, because it's not that often that I feel that strongly, positively sure of something, but when I do, yeah, it's very rare that I'm wrong, and I felt really guilty saying it, but even after saying it that night, like, every day leading up to when she went, we were seeing this really rapid decline. That was, like, the last good day she had was the day I saw her, and I regret that I didn't come over earlier in the day and spend more time with her, because I can't take it back now, and I feel like an asshat for that, because that was just me being selfish for not showing up earlier. But, again, what can you do? But there was, like, this really rapid, like, physical and mental decline, like, really, really, really fast from day to day, to where I was like, oh, dude, yeah, she's definitely going. And everybody else was in denial, and I think I was in a little bit of denial, too, even though I logically knew it, and was even pointing it out, but I didn't want to believe that I was right. I wanted her to prove me wrong, but, I mean, she made it to almost 90. It was, like, a month before her birthday, so she was basically 90, so, I mean, she had a nice long life, and I'm happy for that. Because she deserved it of all people, but, it was really hard, especially hearing the day-to-day decline of even, I think, I want to say 2 nights before she went, my dad went up to her house, and he was helping clean the sheets on her bed, because you can fill in the blanks here and you'll be right, and, yeah, while he was changing the sheets with my grandpa, she randomly started going off about how, you're not changing the sheets for me, you're changing them for the new woman. And he was like, what new woman? The one that Jack's gonna replace me with. And Jack's my grandpa. But it was just like, there is no other woman. This was like sort of delusional talking. I mean, my grandpa's 95, so trust me, he's not exactly out counting around. So I mean, that goes without saying that, yeah, this was totally unfounded, irrational fear on her part, but she was, like, convinced that there's some other woman that she's about to be replaced with because she's about to die, and that he's apparently going to go down to the Hooker Hotel, which I hate saying, yes, there is a hotel here that is notorious for hookers, but, I will leave it nameless. So, but yeah, she was like convinced he was gonna go there and find some new woman and replace her. And my dad was like, why? Or what do you mean? Won't you be in the bed? And no, I won't be here. And why not? Because I have to go. All right, Mom, where are you going? Then she said, to heaven. I have to die now. It was like, that was very disturbing for my dad to hear, obviously. I mean, wouldn't you be disturbed if you heard your mother say that? I mean, even at that age, and assuming that it's probably like just delusional babble from being old, I mean, he's like, oh, no, you're not, and just kind of assumed it's nothing and brushed it off like no big deal and tried to pretend that it never happened. And later that night, my uncle came over to check on her oxygen machine. It turned out that the filter was really, really, really badly dirty. Turns out it had never once been cleaned in the whole 3 years that she'd had it. So, obviously my grandpa is totally kicking himself now because he didn't even, it never even dawned on him to clean it. So, my uncle cleans it out, and instantly she, like, started doing way better. She stayed up that entire night. Just wide awake, feeling great, and making, like, this checklist of stuff that she wanted done, and rattling off, and we all thought, oh, she's gonna do better now! Yeah, and, like, the next day she had no recollection of what she'd said the night before. Day after that, she died. She had a heart attack, apparently a pretty massive one, and she just keeled over and died. And what bothers me most about that, I mean, other than the fact that she died, is the fact that not long before that, she had called over here asking if I should start to die, could somebody come over and be with me so I don't die alone? She never made that phone call. My grandpa apparently wasn't in the room. I guess he was, like, out in the kitchen or something, and he comes back. And she was on her hands and knees unconscious next to their bed. And unresponsive, and apparently didn't have a pulse. Wasn't apparently declared dead yet, so he calls 911, they, like, bring her out to the other end of the house and tried to resuscitate her, and kept getting a very, very, very weak pulse, but, like, barely even, like, readable on a meter of anything. But she had gone at least 20 minutes with none. So, I mean, even if they'd been able to resuscitate, I have a feeling there would have been such massive brain damage that she would have, like, been a veg. And it's, I hate saying it, it's probably for the best that she did die after that, rather than be hooked to machines and in a coma for the rest of her life, because that's not really living. So it probably is more humane that it went the way it did and happened very quickly. She didn't have to suffer, so I mean, I'm grateful for that. But the fact that she technically did end up dying alone bothers me, because she really didn't want to. And even though everybody else has, like, glossed over that fact, it's one of those things that just, it has dawned on me over and over and over again, and it just bothers me. I mean, it's not like anybody could have done anything. They've flat out said that even if she had been in a hospital when it happened, there's probably no way they could have saved her. So, I mean, it's not a matter of the blame game of, oh, if somebody had done this differently, or if I had called them sooner, or if I had been in the... No, there's none of that. It would have happened either way. So, very traumatic, because I was really close with her. Probably closer than I've ever been with any other relative in my family. Probably closer than I've ever been with anybody else in my life. And I'm still not really all that ready to talk about it yet, so I'm not going to. Because I will start crying and I don't want to do that, so we're not going there. But, was not really prepared for can of worms that was unleashed in the days afterwards with my aunt, who I suppose we should have known was going to cause drama, because that's what she does. She always does. She always fucking causes drama. Like, she apparently begged my dad into letting her stay here for what was supposed to be overnight. Overnight turned into the better part of a week, And while she was here, she did nothing but boss everybody around and make insane demands and belittle everybody. Just total fucking bitch. Oh my god, like, you don't come into somebody's house when you're staying as a guest, especially, out of the good of somebody's heart, especially right after somebody's mom died. I mean, I get it's hers too, but they didn't have the best relationship, but... And then act like you own the place. Like, I mean, this got to the point of such trivial bullshit of her going around and telling me what lights in the house I could or couldn't have on. Like, okay, if it were, like, in the area she wanted to sleep, I could understand that, because that would bother somebody. However, on the other end of the house, and upstairs, behind a closed door, really? You are going to bitch because you see the very, very, very edge of an outline of lights turned on under the door? Really? Like, she threw a shit fit over it, and that is one that I didn't back down on because she'd already complained about every other damn light in the house that I'd had on of any room I had been in because she's always had a thing out for me. She hates me, so whatever. It is what it is. Yeah, that. But this is, like, same night she'd gotten on my mom's ass for the way she was cooking for my grandpa, which my grandpa loves her cooking. Hates hers. Because it tastes like shit. But, even though she claims she went to a culinary academy, she didn't, by the way, but she is a compulsive liar. She, like, claims she went to college, got a journalism degree, got this degree, got that degree, went to a culinary academy. None of this ever happened. Claims she has a published book. I asked her the ISBN number, and she's like, well, it might not have actually been published yet, but it's on my hard drive. And I'm like, yeah, you didn't write a book, bitch. Shut up. If it worked like that, I could say that I've written about 200 if we're going by shit that's on a hard drive. So, I mean, yeah, that doesn't hold water. And my uncle's just sitting there like trying not to crack up, like turning every shade of red, trying not to laugh at this, because it's hysterical whenever you catch her in it. It's probably why she can't stand me, because I call her out on her bullshit left and right. She's always done that. And it's always, like, really painfully obvious, but nobody has the balls to call her out on it. And I do, because I'm like, you don't like me, I don't like you, you're a bold-faced liar, and I'm going to call you out on it. Don't like it, don't lie in front of me. Not that hard to figure out, but she does it anyway, and a lot of times I'll just, like, roll my eyes and walk out of the room, but some of them are just so painfully, glaringly obvious of how many which ways I can rip them, shred them apart, and throw it in her face that, yeah, I see what you did, and you're not even good at it. So there's that. So she was doing that, she was bitching about the food, she was, like, bitching about sleeping accommodations, she was bitching about the fact that we didn't happen to have 4 different towels laid out for her every time she wanted to take a shower. Okay, honestly, what the fuck do you need 4 towels for 1 shower for? Like, alright, I can understand if you want one to throw on the floor, which that doesn't even count into the 4 because she wanted another one for the floor on top of those 4, so, okay, can't even use that as factoring in. I can understand you wanting one for your body and one for your hair. That's 2. What are the other 2 for? I mean, she didn't wipe down the shower with one, so there goes that idea. So we've kind of, like, ever since been, like, kicking around between us, what the fuck are the 4 towels for? What are the other 2 for? But we have no idea. We have no fucking idea. Nobody's going to ask her, obviously, because this is, like, 3-month-old history now, basically. But, yeah, it's just one of those things where we don't know. It's one of her weird as fuck little quirks that she just does and expects everybody to instantly know what she is going on about and why. Okay, she's, like, apparently a concierge for a bed and breakfast somewhere in Napa. So, you can imagine that she is all hoity-toity as shit and thinks that anybody who doesn't live that lifestyle is scum. Just going into it so you know the type of person we're talking about here. That probably tells you all you need to know about my aunt. She is more or less had nothing to do with this family until, oh, somebody died, she thinks she'll get money out of it. Oh, now she's hovering like a moth to a flame. Yeah, total gold digger. It's bullshit. But what can you do, right? I mean, and going on instantly about how all of Mom's jewelry was supposed to be for me. And it's like, except we have her will that says not a single thing is supposed to go to her. Nothing. So it's like, nice try. We'll probably throw you a bone, but, nice try. We haven't even started thinking about that sort of thing yet. We're not even touching any of the stuff or dividing anything up until after my grandpa goes. Because it seems wrong to, like, do that until after he's gone. And since he's 95, it's like, we may as well just wait. It's not gonna hurt anything. But she's, like, that greedy. Big surprise. Worst part is, you know damn well that she won't wear it. She'll just hawk it for money. And then blow it. Because that's what she does. That's what she did with both of her husbands when they died, and she, like, got their stuff and sold all of it, and then blew it all on stupid shit for her friends, and, like, literally pissed through all the money in, like, a year or two. So much bullshit. But, even at the services and the funeral, she started shit. I really hoped and prayed that she was gonna at least hold her shit together during those and just reserve all the bullcrap for at home, but oh no, she couldn't hold it together even for those. Oh no, 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 no. I've intentionally waited a couple of months before making this video, by the way, in case she was, like, stalking around online trying to see if I was gonna bitch about her, because I think at this point she's probably forgotten, so. But even if she does find, I really don't care, because it's what happens, so. Everybody knows she's a bitch. But, anyhow, so, for the memorial, apparently now they'll, like, let you put together DVD slideshows of the deceased and let you play them at the thing. So, my uncle made one of photos throughout my grandma's life and put, I think, 4 songs with it. He had, Stardust, had George Harrison's All Things Must Pass, had Happy Trails to You, which was something she had always expressed that if my grandpa died first, she wanted that played at his, but she went first, so we had it for hers. And, the one I wasn't warned about, Over the Rainbow, which anyone who's been on my channel knows how I am with Judy Garland and knows damn well how much that must have hit me like a ton of bricks to hear that there. And not only to hear that there, but to hear it with no warning the second that I walked up to the coffin, because it was an open coffin thing. The second I got up there is when it started playing. I think I gave myself whiplash turning around like, the fuck is somebody fucking with me right now? Like, for real, what is going on right here, right? I was like, he probably threw it in there with me in mind or something, between that knowing that we used to watch Judy stuff together, and that she used to remark about how they were so close in age, so. Beside the point, it's on there, it was appropriate, but it still hurt like hell every time it would loop around to that song. It's like, I would be holding it together, hit that song, break down again. Every time, for hours. So, there's that. My aunt decided, oh yeah, and it's so annoying. I'm going to be sick if I hear those songs again. And she, like, wouldn't even stay in the room with the family. So she, like, waited out near the front door of the mortuary for, like, people to walk in and make herself look all, like, high and mighty and important and, like, I'm the greeter because I'm the chosen child or something. I don't know what her line of thinking is, but she, like, wouldn't even be in there until the actual service started. And then made a big production of trying to throw it out there every possible opportunity, how I put all this together, and I did this, and I did that, and it's like, no you didn't. Shut up. No you didn't. Everybody else did. You didn't do shit. Shut up. But, it's that's not how she works, and most people know better than to try and contest her in public because she will make a scene and feel no guilt about it. So we were just kind of rolling our eyes and biting our tongues, just like, alright. Yeah. At the same time as this, one of my cousins shows up with remnants of cocaine around her nose. I didn't say anything, but I noticed it, my mom noticed it, and my dad noticed it, but we're just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, this whole thing is, like, quickly turning into, like, a train wreck. Yeah. So there's that. And then there's the actual thing with apparently the world's fastest rosary ever said. I was, like, sitting there like, okay, I don't think I've ever been to a memorial with a rosary before. Although, obviously, I went to a Catholic school for 8 years. I know how to say one. I'm not sure if it's standard practice to, like, race through it that fast or not. But it seemed like he was saying it as fast as humanly possible just to get through it and done and over with, like, really, 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 really fast. So, I mean, I can't really fault him on that, but I was just kind of like, I don't know why, but I kind of feel cheated for it going that fast, because I thought it was going to be kind of a therapeutic, meditative thing, but with it going that fast, you're not even really focusing on the words anymore at that point, so I mean, yeah, I mean, again, I really can't complain about the way the priest did things, because I'm not a priest, I'm not in charge of that stuff, so, but it was very disturbing for me, just seeing her in there. Actually, it wasn't even the seeing her in there part that bothered me, because I've been to lots of relatives' funerals with open caskets. That's nothing new for me. What bothered me was when they put her wedding ring on and took them back off after. Everybody told me, don't watch. I'm the type of person where if you tell me not to watch something, that is a surefire way to make sure I will watch. Because morbid curiosity, poor choice of words here, but literally, morbid curiosity is, why, what's so bad? I didn't know what exactly they were doing until I looked, and then watching them messing with the fingers. That is something that I have not been able to unsee ever since. And figures, the photos I have of the last time that I saw my grandma alive, all of them have her hands very prominently in them, and I can't unsee what I saw with the rings thing now. Every time I look at those pictures and find myself, like, fixated on the hands, and just, I can't unsee it, and it's bothering the shit out of me, because again, not like I wasn't warned, but I watched anyway. I have nobody but myself to blame for that, so, yeah. And the fact that it was, like, nighttime out didn't help with the creepy factor on that, so I was like, yeah, so that, and then at the funeral, my aunt decides to act up again, barking out orders before the thing started, like, before we even left for the place. She apparently had ordered 2 limos for the family to go in, and had decided who was going in which one, because apparently this matters or some shit. And all the adults are in one, all the grandkids are in the other, and there is a spare spot in the adults one, and I begged my way to stay with my parents just because I am a wuss, I'm more comfortable with them. And she tried to make a shit fit out of that, but I apparently won out, and it pissed her off that I won out on that. Then the day of the funeral, the limo shows up at the wrong house. My uncle and his kids and everybody all load up in it. Somebody let my aunt know about this, and she flipped a shit about, oh my god, those rotten grandchildren are in the limo, and they only sent one instead of 2, and she, like, flipped out, like, total frigging meltdown, dude. Oh my god, it was bad. Like, I mean, they ended up sending 2 extra ones afterwards for after the funeral for the procession to the cemetery to make up for their fuck up. But what they had to do on the way there was load up the limo with as many people as will fit in it for the first trip down there, drop them off, come back, get the rest of the passengers and bring them down and just do it in 2 trips. Naturally, as you can probably see where this is going, she made a mad fucking dash for the first limo to get in there, to get to the church first, to look all important. And be like clinging to my grandpa's arm and look like the doting daughter, even though she cannot stand him and has always hated him. Which just, I don't know, it sickens me that she's that phony and puts on that much of an act. And just, it really bothers me on a normal day, but on a day like that, that's like unconscionable. And she did it anyway, and thinks nothing of it. So she gets there, she's barking out orders at people left and right. The rest of us get there. She's apparently yelling at some of the people from the Horsemen's Association to take their hats off and blah 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 blah. It's disrespectful, even though, my grandma probably would have gotten a big kick out of it and loved it. She was a bitch about that. She had made a point of making sure the people doing the readings for the funeral were not giving copies of the readings ahead of time. And I knew that was odd because all the other relatives' funerals that I've gone to, I've opted to do some of the readings for every time because I like doing it and I like feeling involved. So I signed myself up to do it again, and nobody told me ahead of time what I'd be reading. Yeah, found out why, because she apparently fucked with it and wanted us to look like idiots, because me and my cousin did both of them for this one. And I know it's pretty much commonplace that you get a copy of it a few days ahead of time so you can like practice it and iron out the kinks or whatever and make sure you can do it, no problem. Well, when they were first picking out which readings they wanted, she called up her friend in Napa for, what sort of readings do you think we should do? And she, like, rattled off some verses over the phone, so I got the Bible out and, like, looked up what they were. The rest of us all decided we hate those. They're way too fire and brimstone for my grandma, of all people. We shouldn't be doing those at my grandma's thing. That just, it's not fitting for who she was. That's not the type of person she was. So it was pretty much well decided that we're not going with those. And they went down to the church and they picked out different ones, and everybody else said how these are much kinder, gentler ones, you'll like them a lot more. I hadn't actually seen them. Night before the memorial, not before the funeral, memorial, she called up the church and was asking this, that, and the other, I don't know, and somewhere in there apparently came up that, oh, you lost the readings? Oh! And just her face lit up, and she got the paper that had the original ones that we all hated written down on it, and she rattled off what they were to the person, and those apparently officially became the ones that were going to be used. I am unfortunately really naive and tend to just believe that people are doing the right thing until proven otherwise, so I was hoping that maybe she'd updated whatever was on that paper with whatever they picked out at the church when they talked to the guy. No. I found out that halfway through reading it while I was up there, I hit some word in it that triggered for me. I forget what it even was, but I was just like up there and suddenly froze. Just, I'm sure my face said it all. Totally froze up and choked on my words a little bit, tripped a little when I realized it because I'm thinking, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And trying not to verbally go, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, up at the podium. You know, that would have been a lot worse, but I didn't. I held it together. All I did was trip over my words a little and suddenly speed through the rest of the whole thing so I can sit down and was just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, it's that reading we fucking hated. She did that on purpose. Apparently did it to my cousin too, although my cousin was unaware of what was read before they picked out the other ones, so she didn't know one way or the other. She just knew, okay, here's the thing, it's been put in front of me, I'm gonna read it. So, I mean, I had been there for the other and knew the difference, so it's just like, ah, shit, she did it again. So, but I mean, what am I gonna do? Make a scene at a funeral? I'm not the type of person she is, so I let it go and didn't say anything till after the whole thing was done and over, and didn't even say it to her. I pointed it out to my dad, who has pointed it out to his brother, and I think they're in mutual agreement that she does not get to help arrange my grandpa's when that time comes, because she fucked around so much on this one. So she did that. She was barking orders at people for running the CD player at the end of it. She was making demands of who gets to sit where, who gets to be around Grandpa. Oh, by the way, none of you are allowed around him. Only me and my daughter, who is never allowed around Grandpa, are going to be sitting around him to look like we're the closest. And it's like, the fuck are you on, bitch? But again, not going to make a scene in a church during a funeral. That's not right. So she got away with it, but doesn't mean we were happy about it. We've all kind of bitched about it ever since, so yeah. So you would think after the funeral part was over that she's gotten it out of her system and she's done now, right? Nope. She fucked around some more, like the whole time we were in the limo on the way to the cemetery for the burial. She had apparently a meltdown over the fact that there was some business decision with my grandpa, my dad, and my uncle, even though they're business partners, and whatever they do is a business deal. It has nothing to do with her, but she has an entitlement complex and seems to think anything my brothers have, I should have. It's like, yeah, except you don't work for Grandpa and they do, so fuck off. But, so she was, like, flipping out that entire ride. Thank God I had my iPod with me and just put in my earbuds and just, like, not listening, la 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 la, and just freaking tuned the whole damn thing out because I didn't want to hear it. On top of already feeling car sick from riding around backwards in a limo. I should have seen that coming. I'm normally really good about making sure I'm not in that spot, but didn't really give it a second thought this time to think that through, so got to the cemetery for the burial. Really was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt that she'll finally knock it off. Nope. So they get the cart thing out and like she's in the mausoleum, so it's not even in the ground, it's in the building, so that's the thing in the wall. So they got on the cart and they, apparently there's like new standards that they didn't used to do, because this is the first one I saw done like this, but now they have to put a plastic, I don't know if you'd call it a tarp or a bag or what you'd even call it, but it's clear plastic that they put over the coffin before it goes in the wall, and they have to like nail it into like a tray that it's on top of, which is also new to me as far as I know, and I was just like, okay, I don't remember them doing this before for any of my other relatives, but okay. But, hold on, what are they doing? What are they doing? Oh my god, they're disturbing the casket so much. Oh my god, what are they doing? And I started rattling off different reasons I could think of why they might be doing this, and all of them are particularly nasty, and trust me, you probably don't want to know, but I had unfortunately Googled a lot of things the night before that I really shouldn't have Googled, but that's me for you, useless knowledge, but, yeah, and apparently all of a sudden she just, like, flips out and screams, "Mama!" like, as dramatically as fucking possible, and does, like, this blood-curdling scream. My uncle just, "Get it together!" and, like, smacks her, and she just, like, no tears or anything, and just, So it was totally all just for dramatic effect, as usual, because she wanted all attention and eyes on her. I probably made a huge faux pas. I was standing right next to the priest when this happened, and she was on the other side of me, and she kind of screamed that in my ear. My knee-jerk reaction reflex was go, "What the fuck?" Yeah, apparently I said, "What the fuck?" in front of a priest. Hopefully I'm not going to hell for that. I am very sorry, and I just, like, instantly, I think anybody that may have looked at my face probably saw the, "Oh shit, what did I just do?" look on my face, but, it was bad, and I regret doing that in front of a priest. Oh my god, but it's all bad. But, I mean, he didn't say anything, he didn't do anything, so, I mean, for all I know, maybe it's not the first time he's seen somebody react like that during a funeral, burial thingy, I don't know, but I mean, priests are human too. I'm sure it's not the first time he's ever heard the word, but I still feel really, really, really friggin' guilty over that, because it's just like, oh, dude, I didn't. But I did. That's my potty mouth for you. That's my typical Jennifer swears like a sailor thing. Yeah, that was yet another thing of I should probably get that in check, huh? Yeah, probably. So, I mean, I think that was... No, I guess that wasn't it. I guess there was a little bit more that she pulled after all this. We got to the reception afterwards, and she kept making a point of stealing my mom's chair every time she'd get up. And I finally got pissed and called her out on it. It was just like, dude, that's my mom's chair. She's sitting there. And just like, don't make a scene, Jennifer! And she like yelled at me, which I wasn't even making a scene, but she totally made it into one by doing that. It's like, oh my god. And she made a point of going around the whole rest of the thing, telling everybody what a huge bitch I am. Eh? Look in the mirror. But it's like, dude, seriously? Thankfully, most of these people know me. And they're just like, yeah, no. But, yeah, this is why I ended up with a huge crowd of people around me talking to me, and she was alone drinking in a corner at the bar, but, you know, charging shit to my dad's credit card without him knowing. Which he found out about because I pointed it out to him that she was doing it, and he flipped out on her, and he got him reversed and sent to her, and she apparently, because of that, then wasn't speaking to him for like a month afterwards because, yeah, you made me pay for my own drinks. It's like, yeah, you have to pay for your own drinks, you stupid broad, really? But you thought you were gonna slip that past everybody? Like, you've already charged this whole thing that's like $10,000 to my grandpa, and now you're doing that on top of it? You can't buy your own damn drinks? Well, I'm broke! Dude, you have a job. I'm unemployed. You claim you're poorer than me. I have a hard time believing that. I was like, I barely had about $1,000 to my name at that point. I was like, there is no way that you have less money than me and you live in Napa. Don't even. If I can buy my own drinks, you can buy your own drinks. Don't even start with me. It's like, good God, just... fucking massive headache anytime I have to be subjected to this woman. And I'm not the only one. Everyone in the family feels the same way about her. It's not just me being a bitch. I assure you, you can ask anyone in our family about her, and she just is awful. She's a wretched, wretched person to have to deal with, and I feel horrible having to say that about a family member, but she has distanced herself from our family, like, since she was a teenager. She really set the precedent herself of not wanting anything to do with this family, so it's barely even, like, talking about family when it comes to her, because she doesn't even consider herself part of this family unless it involves her getting money somehow. So, yeah. That type of person sucks. It really, really sucks. Because it's, like, already a hard time to deal with in the first place, and she just made it that much worse by her bullshit. My family is really loud, I know. Ignore them. If you hear that in the background, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think my sister just, like, slammed a door, and she's yelling at people. Yeah, sorry about that. Hopefully she'll stop it soon. Yeah, she's, like, 15, so what do you expect? More chapstick for me. But, yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Sorry. It's like November, my lips are really, really dry, because the dry air and the heater being on all the time, so, yeah. So, there was that, and naturally being really distraught over the whole thing, it was hard for me to focus on anything afterwards, to even, like, try and throw myself into any sort of normality just through busy work after that. I mean, like, typically, I go to the library as often as I possibly can, and I get, like, a stack of about 20 books every time, and I usually barrel through those without it even, like, being an issue for me. Just with reading first thing in the morning before I go to bed. Not even a big deal. I think I got through 2 books in that whole 3 renewal periods around that time. for me, that is a rarity, and that says a lot about my mental state during that, of just not being able to focus on anything, to try and just zone out and be off in my own private Idaho or whatever, where it's just like, okay, forget about all the bullshit that's going on here. We're going off into whatever the story is over here in this book, so. And I'm still trying to straighten that out, because was that the end of the family drama? No. I mean, at least it was the end of it with that aunt, but things got much, much worse after that. Exactly a month to the day of when my grandma died, my grandpa had a massive stroke. He didn't die. He's actually still hanging in there, but he had a really massive stroke early in the morning, and apparently nobody went over to his house throughout the day to check on him, which, of all the fucking days, I think that was like the first time since Grandma died that nobody went over during the day to check on him, and it just happened to be that day. And he was supposed to come over to our house for dinner, because that was the thing ever since Grandma died. He either came here or to my uncle's house for dinner, but it was always one of those two, and it was our night that he was going to come over. He never showed up. That's not like him. Usually he'll be very, very, very on time for that, which, I mean, everything else in life he's super late for, but if there's food involved, oh my god, he'll be there on the dot. Very much not like him to be late. We started calling over there, no answer, not even the fax machine thing, so I was like, something's wrong. Tried calling his cell phone, nothing. So finally, around like 10 that night, my mom insisted my dad go over there. So he did. He's looking around, and the car was there, so obviously my grandpa was in the house, and my dad's thinking the worst. So he calls his brother up, because we all live on one big family estate. We're all side by side, so it's not a big deal. They're all next door to each other. But, so he calls his brother over, and they go searching the house for him. And they're calling out his name over and over and over and over. No response whatsoever. And my uncle's wife yells out, "I found him!" And at the end of the hallway, he apparently was laying unconscious at the end of the hallway, and they thought he was dead. He apparently looked totally dead. And my uncle flipped out and, like, shook him in. "Oh my god, Dad! Dad!" And my grandpa opened his eyes. And apparently my uncle screamed like a little girl because he thought he was dead and opened his eyes, and oh my god, I mean, can you imagine being in that sort of a situation and that happening, right? That had to be terrifying. And again, this is like 10 at night, too, so to add into the fear factor of the whole thing, on top of the fact that long, straight hallways are scary as shit anyway. I mean, their hallway is kind of like that one in The Shining with the twins in it, so, imagine finding an unconscious body that looks dead at the end of it. Yeah, that. I'm so glad I did not head over there with them for that, because I don't think I would have done well. But anyway, so they find my grandpa. He apparently has his eyes open and is alive, and they look and they see his arm is gashed all the way down. Apparently he hit a bench on the way down when he fell. He couldn't speak, he couldn't move. They called 911 immediately, and it was pretty clear-cut answer to tell, yeah, he had a massive fucking stroke. And they didn't know if he was going to survive or not. So they had him in intensive care for, I forget how many days, but for 3 days he couldn't move, he couldn't speak. He could, like, move his eyes and blink, and, like, move his mouth, but no words would come out. No sounds, no words, nothing. But he could move his mouth, like the whole goldfish mouth, that thing. He was doing that, but he couldn't speak. And for somebody that loves to talk as much as he does, that had to be hell on earth for him. So, after 3 days, all of a sudden, we get this phone call. They said, he's talking. And we were like, you must have the wrong patient. There's no way that guy's talking. I mean, we saw him the night before. There's no way he's talking. You insane? But my uncle's just like, for shits and giggles, let's go down there and go check on him. About 15 minutes later, we get a phone call from him, and holy shit, Dad's talking! Like, get down here now, he's talking! Who saw that coming, right? It's like, massive fucking stroke to where the guy can't move or talk. 3 days later, he's talking perfectly fine. Okay. If anybody could do it, it'd be him. He's a pretty tough dude. So, I mean, it's the same guy that, like, survived the deadliest type of aneurysm you can possibly have and lived through it, like, 15 years ago. So, I mean, if anybody can, like, bounce back from impossible shit, it's him. But, yeah, I was like, alright, I'll go see him too. Because since he had had the stroke, I had made a point of not wanting to see him like that, especially if he was about to pass. I was like, I don't want to remember him like that. I'd rather cling to the memories I had of him from a night before when he was totally functional and fine. And I mean, I think most people can understand that logic, so, yeah. So, went down there, and my sister went with me, and we were like, hi Grandpa, how are you feeling? And he's laying there, and I think they had just given him pain meds, and all he said was just, god damn it. Which, I mean, for most intents and purposes, most people would take that as a horrifically bad sign. For us, we're like, oh my god, Grandpa's back! Because that's just, you know, how he talks. I think that's probably where I get my potty mouth from, is probably from him. So, that actually, as weird as it is to say, we actually felt a little comforted hearing him say that. That was the first thing out of his mouth, but, he still couldn't really move at that point. He was, like, barely moving his feet around a little bit. He had, like, been able to move his left side again after that. But the right side was, like, gone. So, to see he was, like, moving that foot a little bit, we're like, so he can talk, and he's moving the foot on the side that's supposed to be paralyzed. Is he, like, gonna totally bounce back from this? And I mean, the day after that, he was sitting up in a chair and was able to move both legs. And, like, a day or two after that, he was able to move everything just fine. I mean, he still can't, like, handwrite very well. It's still super messy, but he can do it at all. It is amazing. And he has no slur to his words or anything. I mean, it seems like his short-term memory was affected because he still keeps asking what happened to him. So, I mean, he apparently still doesn't remember he had a stroke and is in denial that he had one, because he thinks he just fainted and fell down, is what he thinks happened. But other than that, I mean, they've been working with him for a month now. They've had him in a retirement home. When they get him recuperated enough, he's going to come live with us for the rest of his life until he passes, but, because we have a guest room. But, they've got him to the point with a walker, he is able to walk around, or assisted he can walk around, which, for as massive of a stroke that he had, that's extremely rare for him to be able to do that much. I mean, he'll probably mostly just be relying on a wheelchair just because it's easier, but they're trying to see if they can get him up and walking, but throughout this whole thing, we found out he has way more medical problems than we knew about. Like, he apparently also has congestive heart failure like my grandma did, which is scary given how she went. On top of that, he has COPD, which I know involves your lungs, and that's about as much as I know about COPD, honestly. I should probably read up on that before he gets here. He has a blocked artery in his neck on one side with 85% blockage, and he's still mulling over whether or not he wants to risk the surgery to try and repair that or not. Basically, his doctor is telling him that if he has the surgery at his age, it's a 50-50 shot of if he'll die on the table or will he be totally fine. It could go either way just as easily. Obviously, my grandpa doesn't like those odds, but, if he doesn't undergo it, it is basically inevitable. He will have another stroke. The point that I would like to ask his doctor, if I get a chance to, is, okay, So it's basically guaranteed he will have another stroke, but is it guaranteed that the next one will necessarily be fatal? Or will it just be another massive one like the one he had where he ends up bouncing back again? Is it possible he could have some of those before, the big one that ends up taking him down? Or is it guaranteed that if he has, like, even one more, that it will be the one that does it? I haven't had a chance to ask that question yet. I'd like to. I have a lot of questions I want to ask, but, yeah, I mean, it's hard seeing him mulling over this because he doesn't want to have to make that decision and feel like he's responsible for signing his life away, but we can't make that decision for him either, So, I mean, it's kind of a rough place to be in right now. And on top of that, not knowing when exactly he'll be out of there and in here, because they keep flip-flopping on that answer too. Like, they were originally saying when they feel he is ready enough to be released, we'll probably have at least a week of warning ahead of time. All of a sudden, his doctor got a wild hair up his ass and decided, no, I want to go home now. And for whatever the fuck reason. Day after that, claimed, I don't know what you're talking about, I never said that. And I'm like, dude, is this doctor, like, schizophrenic or some shit? Like, honestly, right now? Seriously? But, yeah, so I honestly don't know where the fuck things lie with that right now, but, basically, before I get to that, like, this week next week, they're gonna send somebody out to inspect the house, make sure it's safe for him to come live in, which, ooh, big whoop, big nice mansion, yeah, I'm sure that's gonna be a danger for him to live in, right? I mean, I think they're trying to make sure he's not going to be living in a shithole, so, I mean, aside from that, and then, like, the recommendations for things he needs, like, guardrails, wheelchair ramps, shit like that, I mean, I think that's about all they're gonna do when they come look at the place. I think upstairs probably won't even matter because he's not coming upstairs. He's just gonna be downstairs on the main floor because that's where his room's gonna be, and bathroom's down there, kitchen's down there, living room's down there. There's nothing upstairs he would need because it's just our bedrooms up here. So, I mean, yeah, there'd be no point in him coming up here. So, I think of all the years we've lived here, he's been upstairs once, and that was when we first built this house just to come see what it all looked like. So, yeah, he wouldn't be coming up here. But when he does get here, any small semblance of freedom I may have had is about to go out the window, because I can't go anywhere again once he's here, basically. I mean, I've got a special exception to go see Liza Minnelli in March when she's in San Francisco, because I had those tickets before this ever happened, so I mean, they're not going to make me, like, sell those or anything. Not that I'd go along with it even if they tried to make me. I'd be like, yeah, fuck that, I'm going. But for just about anything else, my hair looks pretty in the light, but, sorry, I'm all ADD. I almost look like a blonde with that lighting. But, anyway, yeah, basically, he cannot be left home alone. Ever. And because I'm not working, guess whose responsibility that automatically gets to become? Mine. Which, I mean, I live here rent-free. I really can't complain too much. On top of the fact that I hardly ever go anywhere now, but apparently, in my mind, there's a huge difference between knowing I could go somewhere at any given time and just not wanting to, versus being told, if I wanted to, no, you can't go. Apparently, this is a huge claustrophobic thing in my head. It's like, probably in the past year, the only places I have even gone have been like the bank, the supermarket, the library, shit like that, and not even that frequently. And yet, suddenly being told, yeah, we need you to stay home with him. Now I'm like, oh my god, the walls are closing in on me. Oh my god, I'm never gonna be able to go anywhere again. Oh my god. It's just kind of interesting, the double standard on this in my own head. I don't know. I mean, I suppose if it were, like, an important enough thing, they would see if somebody else could, like, stay with him. If it were a big enough deal, but it looks like the majority of it's gonna be me. Yeah. Fuck. But, Well, not a lot I can do there. Again, I live here rent-free, so I really have no room to bitch. Other than the fact that whatever small semblance of freedom I had is just bye-bye. I can't go anywhere, I can't go on any trips or anything even if I wanted to. And that really sucks knowing that, because I was going to see if I could go out to St. Louis to be with my best friend on her 30th birthday next year, and yeah, it looks like that's not even going to be a possibility now. And that really fucking sucks, because I've been looking forward to that. But again, I have no room to bitch here, so. Actually, I don't even mind that part nearly as much as the... Yeah, I see the sunlight's like giving me this weird fucking glow now, but doesn't bother me nearly as much as the fact that his med schedule is so rigid that it is every 2 hours, including in the middle of the night. And because my sleep schedules are so fucked, oh, that's apparently my responsibility too. So like midnight, 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 a.m., yeah, those are all mine. I have to take care of those. And record it in a notebook, and dispense the meds, and sit there and make sure he doesn't choke on his applesauce with the meds. And then hope that maybe I can fall back asleep after, which, knowing me, probably not. Usually once I'm up, so... Should be interesting to see how this goes. Again, it's like... Actually, the part of all this that bothers me doesn't even have to do with getting up, because... Yeah, I typically am up a million times throughout the night at weird-ass times, so I mean, that part actually doesn't bother me. The part that bothers me is the realization that if he dies in his sleep, I'd be the one going down there in the middle of the night that would find him. That freaks me the fuck out. To the point where I'm like, if I'm doing this, I'm not doing it alone. Somebody's coming with me, because I do not want to be the one to find him if that ends up being how he goes. I mean, statistically speaking, by the numbers, people who are early risers are more statistically likely to die before 11 a.m. Late risers are more statistically likely to die around 6 p.m. There's exceptions to every rule. My other set of grandparents were an exception to this rule, but I mean, by the numbers, because I'm apparently a freak and have looked up shit like this, the odds would be in my favor of hopefully him not going in the middle of the night, but basically, as long as I'm not the one to find him, I'm not too worried, but I don't want to be the one to find him. Because that just seems like it would mentally scar me for life, because I'm really, really, really superstitious about a million different things and have severe anxiety disorders and can't deal with that shit. So it looks like how this arrangement's gonna work is gonna be, I'm gonna have to get up, wake my mom up, she'll come with me, she'll handle the meds and the applesauce part of it, because I'm, like, really allergic to apples, and it was like, when I thought I was gonna be doing this alone, I was like, dude, I'm gonna have to wear rubber gloves every time that I do this, just to make sure none of that gets on my skin. That's gonna suck, and we're gonna go through a shit ton of rubber gloves. So, I mean, this will probably save us a ton of money on gloves, if nothing else, to make sure I don't have to handle those, because... Again, if I so much as get apple on my skin, I have a reaction, and it's not fun. I mean, it's not like the throat closey type allergy, but I don't really fancy spending the next 2 days afterwards on the toilet, so TMI, I'm sure you all needed to know that, but really sucks because apples used to be my favorite thing ever. And it was like somebody flipped a light switch and I couldn't eat them anymore without that happening. Sometimes I'm like, fuck it, and I do it anyway, and I just pay later for it, but damn, they tasted good when I ate them, so... Anyway, that's beside the point, so it'd be like, alright, she'll handle that aspect of it, and we'll walk in first, and make sure that, you know, he's still in there, alive, but if he's not, she'll tell me, and I'll be the one to go call 911 and not have to walk in there, so I won't have to see it if that's the case. So, I mean, we've got our system set up already, even though he's not even here yet. But, she'll handle that part, and I'll handle the recording of the meds in the notebook part, which actually, that part, I'm such a nerd that actually sounds kind of fun, I have to admit, which everybody's like, why? Why the fuck would that be fun? I'm like, I don't know. It just sounds like it would be. But, I don't know. I'm a writer at heart, so that really doesn't bother me. But, let me alter the brightness settings on here because it's getting dark in here. But, let me see. Does that help? Little bit, something like that. But this is like still a new computer, so like hang with me here, because I'm still playing with settings. Let's see which way is this, darker or lighter? Oh, no. Hey, it looks like fucking daytime now. But it's like 4:30 in the afternoon, it's starting to get dark here, so I'm like, okay, I've almost got it. Almost. Something like that. I don't know. A little lighter, a little darker. Somewhere around here? No. It'll have to do, because down like this is too dark, so I'm just gonna leave it up here, even though that's like pale now, but it'll have to do, so you can actually see me when I talk. But yeah, apparently I'll be in charge of notebook duty, she'll do the meds part, and that'll be that, and my main function in this is making sure she wakes up at those times to go do that. Because she can't wake up without somebody waking her up. And if I'm up anyway, it's like, who the fuck cares? All I have to do is so much as walk down the hallway, the dog will start barking like crazy and wake everybody up, so it'll be a family thing. No, but no, it just wakes her up when the dog barks. So, yeah. It just, I don't know, I mean, he's 95. Realistically, how many years do we realistically see this even being a thing, you know? I mean, in the big picture, I mean, so what if it even ends up being like a couple of years like this? I can deal with a couple of years given the big picture version of things. My reservations on things lie in much more trivial matters. Things like, if he's on oxygen when he comes here, and there's a power out, then what? You can't light candles around that. I mean, like, unless we're gonna have, like, a shit ton of lanterns and glow sticks and LED lights on batteries. Yeah, I mean, normally during a power out, I have so many candles lit in here, it looks like fucking Christmas. It's, like, fully illuminated with candles. It's amazing. I have never burned this house down with how many I light, because I can't stand the dark. So we're already trying to think of ways around that. I'm up for suggestions of different things I can use. Because, I mean, we've got, like, a few, like, battery-operated lanterns. Obviously, there's flashlights, but they burn out really fast if you just leave them on, so I opt not to do that. There's the LED Christmas lights thing, which, hey, life hack, if you put them in an empty milk jug, they'll, like, illuminate like crazy, so, I mean, I'll probably do that, on top of the others. If I get some of those industrial strength glow sticks, I mean, my brother has some that he bought as, like, lightsabers for his daughter, but, beside the point. Yeah, he let my sister borrow one during our last power out, and that thing illuminated, like, her whole damn room, but it's like, that I have a much bigger room than her, so I'm gonna need more than one, probably, but, yeah, trying to figure out what exactly to do. Obviously, there's tea lights, but that only illuminates a very small area. And obviously, I mean, the LED one's not, like, Bernie candle kind. But yeah, so I mean, the power out thing will probably be interesting to see how we handle that. Not to mention, if he's on an oxygen machine, wouldn't that leave him without air if there's a power out? I mean, yeah, there's oxygen tanks that we'll probably have around 2, but I don't know. It just seems like, wouldn't that be a really bad thing to happen? I don't know, maybe that's just me. So that is, like, one fear involving candles. Another one is that one of my main coping mechanisms for anxiety, which my anxiety is on a scale of 1 to 10 lately, between my grandma dying and my grandpa's stroke and the whole uncertainty of everything, which I don't do well with because I have Asperger's syndrome, and we're notorious for not being able to deal with change very well. Yeah, and I'm downplaying it for this. Yeah, you've not seen me freak out over a change before, trust me. But, between those, on a scale of 1 to 10, my anxiety's been an 11. When you're having full-scale panic attacks, like full-on, as far as intensity goes with a panic attack, for 8 hours straight. Yeah, there was only like one other period in my life when I had them this bad on a regular basis. And that was when I more or less had to basically drop out of high school and go into home study. And that's what tells me it's definitely stress-induced. But the flip side of that coin is that if it is stress-induced, it's temporary. It'll suck for however long I'm dealing with stressors and anxiety triggers and shit, but it won't be stuck that way forever. Whereas my first time going through it, I thought, oh my god, my brain's fucked up, I'm broken, this is just what life is now? This is just how it is? I'm gonna have panic attacks like this the rest of my life, this intense for that long? All the time? I mean, that's not a fun reality to have to deal with. Luckily, it was not permanent, and when I was removed from the majority of the anxiety triggers, they went away, more or less. I mean, I still had lesser ones. I can deal with the short ones. I don't give a shit about those. They suck, but under like 20 minutes or shorter, I would gladly take those any day over the 8-hour ones. Oh my god. But, yeah. As long as they're the little ones, I can deal. But anyway, where I was going with that was one of my main coping mechanisms for that is I light candles and or incense in my room, and I meditate. And usually I have some of George Harrison's Indian music on during it, just for added effect, because I'm a nerd that way. But the main thing is meditation and aromatherapy at the same time. Yeah. I'm not sure how that's going to work if he's on oxygen for the aromatherapy part of it, which is a major grounding thing for me, for being able to get myself back in the here and now and be okay and realize that this is just right now. Focus on the 5 senses and what is happening here and now. That it's a long involved thing, but one of the main ones for me is aromatherapy. It's very effective with me. However, the prospect of having that suddenly ripped away and not being able to use it, I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? Because again, with all the uncertainty and shit going on and the anxiety and stress stuff, I can guarantee, yeah, I'm going to continue having panic attacks, and I need my outlet for being able to deal with them. And I'm not sure what exactly there is in terms of alternatives for the aromatherapy thing, because, yeah, there's candles, there's incense, and there's, like, essential oil burners. All of these involve a flame of some sort. So, yeah. I'm not sure how there's a way around that. If you have any sort of, like, just recommendations of what I can use instead that would be safe to use in the presence of oxygen, that would be fantastic. Because saying to put a little thing of potpourri in your room is not going to cut it for me. It has to be a strong thing. It has to be pretty intense for me. I mean, maybe I could use perfume. I don't know if that would be enough to work or not. I mean, I can try it, but I'm not sure if that's enough to work. So, I mean, short of that, I mean, if you guys have any sort of ideas of suggestions I could try, that would be fantastic. Because otherwise, I am sunk, and I don't know what to do, and we'll probably just have to suffer, probably. Yeah, and I don't like that. because I'm so dependent on aromatherapy and meditation. It's like, well, what do I do if I can't do that? I mean, I can still meditate, but it doesn't seem to be as effective for me without the aromatherapy part. So I've tried it without it, and it doesn't seem like it does as much for me. That's just me. But, so there's that fear. And then my other coping technique, which isn't just for anxiety, but also for anger and de-stressing and just about anything, is pretty much just to go in my room and blast music loudly and go into my own little world, and doesn't take long before I feel good again, because I'm so focused on the music that I forget about whatever the fuck's bothering me. Yeah, remember how I think I said that that room is directly below mine? Yeah, there's almost no sound insulation in this house. Loud music isn't an option either. I am so fucked, basically. I don't know what they were thinking when they designed this house with, like, no sound insulation, but it's just like, oh my god, are you serious? And because my bedroom is also, because of the size of it, it not only is over that bedroom, but it's also over the entry hall. The entry hall has wood floors, and it basically turns it into an echo chamber if I play music loudly, and it pipes it downstairs, which normally isn't a problem because I listen to the same music as my parents, so they don't give a crap. But I don't think my grandpa will take too kindly to that, now do ya? No, but I realize he's, like, mostly deaf, but that would probably be the one thing he'd be able to hear, my luck, so I don't want to, like, bother him. I really don't want to be a bother to anybody, so, I mean, can't do that. At least that one, there seems to be a solution for, because my dad's probably gonna get me some noise-canceling headphones. Like, I don't know if they're gonna be Bose or Beats or whatever. I mean, he was saying that, but I also know how my dad works. He exaggerates shit, and then yeah, it doesn't end up being as cool as he made it out to be, but, you know, as long as they're noise canceling, as long as the sound quality's really good, they can be any goddamn brand they want. I don't care. They just need to work, and they need to be dependable. That is all I care about, and that I get to use them. I don't even care if they're solely mine. I can share. I don't care. But, yeah. I don't know when exactly he's getting them, but he assured me that sometime before my grandpa gets here, I will have them in my hot little hands and be able to use them. So, I suppose that's a good thing. There's that. But the downside that I realized that isn't really that big of a deal, it just kind of sucks, is that, even though I haven't done any of these in a long time, is that if the only way I can do loud music is through headphones, I can't do YouTube singing videos anymore. Which makes me sad, even though it's been fucking forever since I've done one in the first place, but it's just like, of course, it's that whole mentality thing again of like, with, oh yeah, I never go anywhere, but the second I'm told that, hey, you have to stay here, I'm like, now I want to go somewhere. Now I'm suddenly claustrophobic at that idea, but, same sort of thing of, could have been doing videos every fucking day up till now, but I wasn't, and now the realization that, yeah, I probably can't do that while he's here unless he has to go out for a doctor's appointment or something. Now I'm like, man, that sucks. Again, it's totally one of those you don't realize what you have till you don't sort of thing. But I mean, again, all this stuff is temporary. I'm trying to keep it in perspective for myself of any of these issues are not ones that are permanent. Eventually he will be gone, and eventually, when that happens, I'll be glad that I put all my bullcrap issues aside and put him first when he's gone. Because otherwise I would kick myself forever if I didn't, for being really, really selfish. And I don't want to be selfish. So, I mean, that's just me. I can't speak for anybody else, but that's just me. I mean, that, and again, trying to appreciate the fact of I have it generally pretty easy here. I can suck it up for my grandpa, okay? It's not that big a deal on the big picture. It's just, it's probably gonna be sucky for a while, but I mean, I'll live. I'll make it through it, I'll be okay, but it's just gonna be sucky. I've already made it quite clear that if Liza comes through town again while he's still here, I will be going to that, and they've said no big deal there, so, I mean, I guess if it's a big enough thing that I want to go out for, they'll waive an exception for me, but for the most part, they need me here, and I understand that, and I guess that's okay with me, so whatever. Yeah. Again, it's so rare that I really go out in the first place that this really shouldn't even be an issue to me. It's just the whole mentality thing of the second that I heard that it's probably not something I can do anymore, it bothered me, so. But again, you live at home, there are sacrifices you make to do that, so this is one of them. And again, it's not permanent, I can live with it. What worries me more is every year I get hellacious sinus infections that turn into bronchitis that then turn into pneumonia. Sinus infections aren't catchy. Bronchitis and pneumonia are. I'm going to kick myself forever if I catch either of those and somehow give it to him. I'll probably try and keep as much distance as possible if I catch either of those. But it's like an inevitable. It happens every damn year. So I was like, what do I do? What do I fucking do? It always takes me like 2 months to fully get over it, so. Yeah, I know, I have like the most shit-tastic immune system on the planet, huh? But, yeah, that. So, I mean, I have that weighing over my head of, hey, try not to get sick so you don't kill your grandpa. It's like, oh, thanks for pointing that out to me, as if I didn't have enough anxieties already. But, yeah. So there's that, there's the fear of, if they all go out, I have to stay here with him, obviously. If I need to go somewhere, then somebody else has to stay here. But I mean, again, I don't go that many places, so that probably won't really be the case very often. I mean, aside from me going to the bank and the library, that's usually the main, only 2 places I go, so. But, yeah. Aside from that, it'd basically be me staying here whenever they go shopping and stuff, because I do most of my shopping online. So, that in mind, it terrifies me of what if he has a stroke when he's on my watch? Am I gonna be blamed somehow for the stroke? I mean, they're like, no, of course not. I'm like, I've seen how this family works, and I unfortunately don't have much faith in believing that I won't somehow blame me for it, but. Not to mention, I'll probably blame myself for somehow not doing something perfectly correctly and it somehow being my fault if he does. I mean, even if it's not a fatal one, I'll probably blame myself, but, yeah. It's just fucked up. I have a guilt complex, in case you couldn't tell. But, yeah, that. It makes all of this that much more complicated. Of it hanging over my head of, oh my gosh, that is a lot of pressure put on me if something happens when it's on my watch, which is probably half the reason why I'm like, I don't think I can deal with the middle of the night when it's totally alone. I want somebody to come with me. I don't even care who, just I want someone to come with me. So, apparently they'll accommodate that, or at least I'm told so far they will. Probably about it on the grandpa front as far as I know so far, but it's like, I don't know if that'll hinder my making these or will increase my making these, because I'll probably be very bored. Although being very bored and not going anywhere, I don't know how much I'll have to talk about, so I may need suggestions from you guys of topics. There's my sister again with the door slamming. I lived a very noisy household, but, yeah, I'll probably need suggestions for blog topics, just so I have shit to even talk about, because otherwise it's gonna be really boring stuff like this one's been, an hour and a half of nothing. Oh joy. But, yeah. I mean, I've got like my artsy, craftsy stuff I do. I'll probably be doing even more of those than I already do, just for something to do during the day, and probably watch a zillion more movies than I already do. But I've basically been assured left and right it probably in reality won't change a whole lot of anything for me for the most part, because I'm usually here all day anyway. So if they go somewhere, ooh wow, I have to go downstairs and hang out with Grandpa. Big whoop. It's not like he's on death's doorstep right now, so he'd probably just be like in the armchair watching TV. Is it really that hard or that much to ask somebody to like go make conversation? No, it's not. So I mean, it's really not that big a deal. I mean, I've been going with my parents to like visit him each night at the retirement home that he's at for the moment while he's rehabbing and stuff to get good enough to come here. But yeah, it's probably not going to be real different from that, I imagine. Probably just TV on. I mean, if anything, he'd probably be the one person who'd want to watch the same stuff on TV I watch, because 99% of the time if I'm watching TV, it's on TCM. I watch old movies. That's basically all I watch. My only exceptions to that being, like, Once Upon a Time in Neverland, My Little Pony. Do not judge me on that shit. Other than that, I basically stick strictly to TCM only. And I have no regrets on that. I love TCM and I love old movies, so that's cool with me. And it's dark in here again. I have to fuck with the contrast again. Make it brighter. Nah, that doesn't work. Up, no. Shoot. How about up? I think I fucked it up a little. Well, or I could turn on a light. That'd probably help. Let's do that. Well, that helps immensely. Why didn't I do that a while ago? Well, other than the lighting being kind of wonky now, but I mean, you can see me at least, so it's not as bad. So anyways, yeah, so I'd probably just, like, hang out, watch TV, talk, do my usual online-y stuff, because I'm attached at the hip to the internet. Always was, though, so that's nothing new. Or work on my projects while hanging out with him. I mean, like I said, it's not like it'll probably even change much of anything. If anything at all, about the only thing I could see it considerably changing would possibly be the fact that my sister won't bring her kids over here as much. So if anything, that technically make things easier. Because hanging out with a grown-ass old man versus 3 children, ages 5 and under. I'm pretty sure it doesn't take a mathematician to do the math here of which is easier. And although the kids go home at the end of the day, his grandpa, I don't see him being that much of a challenge unless he's like cranky or something, in which case everybody's got their bad days, who cares, but I can deal with cranky. I'm cranky, so I can deal with cranky, but yeah, it probably won't be that big a deal. I'm probably making it out to be a much bigger thing in my head than it will actually be. That is typically what I do with everything. And then I, like, get to whatever it is, and it turns out to be nowhere near as bad as I thought it was gonna be. And then I'm all happy that it's nowhere near as bad, and that I worked myself up over nothing. I mean, I realistically, logically know this is most likely going to be how it goes. If anything, probably, like, the hardest thing will just be keeping track of the dog 24/7 and making sure she's not under the wheels of his wheelchair. I think that is the main reason they want me home all day with him, is to make sure he doesn't run over that dog, because that dog drives him nuts, and I can see him running over her just to shut her up, because we have a yappy little Pomeranian. So yeah, I'll be on, like, watchdog duty of the dog. Yeah. I mean, that dog is like my baby, so I have no problem looking after her. I do that anyway, so. I mean, whenever my sister's kids are here, I kind of look after the dog to make sure they don't, like, torment the crap out of her or anything, or, like, sit on her or anything stupid, chew on the dog or anything. I mean, one of them's a baby, so you gotta factor all this in. And there'll soon be another one, so I mean, yeah, there's that. I gotta keep moving this, cause, yeah. Anyways, so, yeah, I think I'm mostly reassuring myself on the it will be okay front, because I'm sure I don't have to tell you guys that, yeah, it probably will be okay, and I am being really stupid and ridiculous for even worrying. What else is new? I always do that, so, yeah. That's just typical Jenn behavior. This is why I'm not exactly the world's most easy person to live with, because I freak out over everything that way and, like, psych myself up into massive anxiety over the tiniest fucking things. It can be something as minor as going to the store and psyching myself up into, oh my god, what if we get carjacked, or the car breaks down, or the store gets held up, or this, or that, or any possible thing that could happen, my brain will generally come up with it any time that I so much as try and set foot outside this house, so that's typically why I don't go too many places in the first place, and the ones I do go, I'm a massive ball of anxiety most of the time I'm there. Like, my one exception to that is concerts, because I feel like I'm amongst my own people there who understand what it's like to be as much of a fan of something obscure as I am. And I just feel like I'm amongst my peeps, and they get it, and I get it, and it's all one big happy family here. No bad will happen here. It's all good. And I feel just really secure there. The way to and from these things is sometimes another story, given I often have to take public transit to them, and in the Bay Area that is not always the easiest thing, especially when you have to go through Oakland. So, especially when you do it at night, it's scary. I've got stories about Bart at night, but I'll save those for another video, because they're kind of humorous in retrospect, but at the time they were, like, scary. But, yeah.